We were very much boots on the ground, and so we were one of the main firms or groups of people that were really utilizing all the codes and ordinances and everything. And as you're using them over and over and over again, you start to see things that aren't working, or you just become very engaged with them. Just by that natural familiarity, but on a kind of an expert level. Because of our passion in these types of projects, we found a way to get involved to make things better. So specifically to the adaptive reuse process in Los Angeles, our original downtown was pretty much relatively abandoned, through time, but pretty much in the modernist movement, that people didn't want these old ornate buildings. They didn't tear them down, thank goodness, or at least not many of them. They just kind of built a bigger downtown adjacent to it. So the historic core is still a part of downtown, but it was significantly underutilized, if not mostly empty. Nobody went downtown. There's nothing to do downtown. There were some cool old buildings every now and then, be like, oh, that's a cool old building, yeah. But it wasn't until I had that first project, and then that's where I was like, oh my God, there are so many buildings down here, and they're all empty, and they're amazing, and this is what I need to do. The main chunk, which was the financial district, were all office buildings on the top. And again, this is a big part of adaptive reuse. It's like what the buildings want to be. So they were offices. Because they were offices and they were built in the 20s, they didn't have air conditioning. So they had to have good light and ventilation. So when you look at now today's use, our downtown really needed housing, big time. And housing works really well in old office buildings, specifically because of that light and ventilation issue. So that part of the historic core really got revitalized relatively quickly. The next street over was Broadway, and Broadway was our commercial and entertainment district. So that street had big theaters and big department stores, all back in the 20s. And they were all tight next to each other, like either skinny buildings with no windows on the sides, or they were just huge mammoth buildings with not enough windows. It's like, how do we get Broadway activated? And at the same time, there's obviously a lot of people thinking this. But as an architect and doing all the housing, I was like, okay, so what can I bring to the table? How can I get involved? So that was like one of the big ones right from the beginning. I was like, oh, I gotta help figure out how we can, make Broadway into this amazing, amazing space.